The first episode's always the best, so enjoy it while it lasts. Welcome to the very first episode of our new podcast, Modern Myths. I'm Trash Diamond. There is nobody with me. That made it sound like I was going to set somebody up, but there's no one with me. This is a lone podcast. I might have some people join me on this lovely, lovely podcast with a brilliant name. But today it is just me, and we are going to go through some news, and then we're going to name off my top 20 favorite video games. So let's get started. Earlier this week, the It trailer was released, and I have not read It from Stephen King, and I have not seen the 1992, I'm thinking, I don't know, probably not, something. The older version of It, which I've heard is nothing like the book, and the book is truly terrifying. But I watched the new trailer, and at first, I loved it. I was like, this is great. This is just going to be a scary movie with some heart. So it's going to be freaky, and I'm also going to like the characters. It's not going to be a regular scary movie where halfway through, I'm yelling at the screen in the movie theater, standing up, throwing my popcorn, saying, this is stupid, I'm not even scared. And making sure the people don't go into the right rooms, and just yelling my butt off. So in the trailer, you see an older brother making a paper boat for his younger brother, and the younger brother takes it outside, and I don't get why he takes it outside and just does it through the rain thing. I mean, that's cool, but I would have never done that as a kid. I don't know, maybe just because my brothers didn't love me enough to make a paper boat, but he makes his paper boat, and he's running, and he's staring at the paper boat as it's going down like the street drain, what is it called? And then he hits his head, which I thought was hilarious, on a police like no crossing sign, which is weird because it was just in the middle of the road. I feel like he should have known it was there, but I also like understand that he was staring at the boat, which makes sense. But he kind of just like ran into it, and he gets knocked clean out, and he sees his boat go into like a sewer, and instead of being like, oh, my boat's gone, he's like, oh, I'm going to go grab it from the sewer. And like looks in there, and he wastes like a good 10 seconds just looking in there, and we see our first glimpse at the clown. And the clown does not, it looks not like it. It's very scary looking. It's also kind of weird looking. At one point in the trailer, it shows some slides, which I believe is the older brother's mom, who probably has passed away. I don't know. I'm just reading into this trailer a little bit more than I should. Oh. Oh. I'm leaving that in. I just burped like a gross thing up. Oh. That's not good. But I'm guessing it's like the boy's mom, and then like she has red hair too, and so as like it's like showing cells, like if your family ever went on like a road trip when you were living in the 80s or 70s or something, it's like a slideshow. It's like and so it has like a stop motion thing where it shows it as the mom like turn its head, and it's kind of scary. But it looks scary as. Like, it looks super scary, but I just don't know if I'm all that excited for it. When it first started, I was like, oh, this is going to be sweet. I'm very excited for this. And as the trailer went on, I was like, oh, more generic, more kid actors. It looked like they were trying to imitate Stranger Things. And also, because of all the clown, like scary clown, killer clown sightings that were all over Twitter last summer and last fall, I feel like it's just because of those two things, they're like deciding to make this movie now. If both those things never would have happened, we never would have had this movie. That's what I'm just thinking. I'm going to go see it. Probably won't be scared by it. In the past 7 years, I want to say, maybe earlier than that, maybe 10 years, I've been scared by only really one movie. I've been scared by plenty of video games, like Finding Bigfoot. That was scary. If you guys haven't seen that, there's a VOD on my channel right now. But the only movie that scared me in the past like 7 years, I want to say, is Woman in Black. Woman in Black is one of the scariest movies I've seen. Right now, it doesn't scare me because I saw it a couple nights ago. It's still freaky to me, and it's not like jump scares all the time. Like, there is a few jump scares, which I condone it for. But like, it's always like in the background, very subtle. like scary things, very audio driven, makes you feel really weird and feel like um, Daniel Radcliffe should get out of that house. So I don't know. This could be scary. This could be garbage. Probably just a money grab from whatever studio is financing this film, but it's whatever. Some crazy stuff happened. So apparently, as an April Fool's joke, I don't know if it was a joke or a blessing. They streamed Rick and Morty season 1 or season 3 episode 1, where Rick breaks out of prison. I have not watched it yet. I'm planning on watching it because I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan. In fact, right now you'll probably see it in the Breath of the Wild episodes that's coming out or already came out. I'm wearing a Rick shirt, and it's super soft, by the way. And so they streamed it. I don't know how long they streamed it. I just know they streamed it until like 12 a.m. So probably like 5 different times. I don't even know. But people have captured it online. They tried to take it down, but it's the internet. Once something is out there, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, full of needles in haystacks. They're just not going to be able to take it down. So if you want to go watch that, you can go watch it. I'm not going to give you a link or anything because that's piracy. But I've heard it's amazing. I heard it's one of the best episodes, and I can't wait to watch it. Speaking of stuff I can't wait to watch, Dawn of the War of the Planet of the Apes, or War of the Planet, the Dawn of the War, something like that. War of the Planet of the Apes trailer was released, or a new trailer was released, and it basically gave up the whole film. It gave up a big twist, which is like some gorilla betrays Caesar halfway through, who Caesar thought it was his friend. This happens in the second one, so I didn't think they were going to do it again. I thought every single Planet of the Apes movie was going to be about a different like monkey that's leading the group that's like chaotic good. I thought that's just what I thought, instead of just seeing Caesar for 3 movies. Like, these movies are phenomenal, don't get me wrong. I just figured that we'd have different storylines leading up to the astronauts returning to Earth and then finding out that this place is a hellish wasteland full of monkeys that need to get their damn dirty hands off them. Or paws, sorry. That's what I thought was going to happen, but instead we're getting Caesar. Unless Caesar's like a passed down name, like in Cleopatra, how the name Caesar's passed down a couple of times because Caesar's the all great and powerful. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's Caesar because in the trailer you hear like James Franco's voice and stuff, and he has like those memories. But they basically just showed off what the huge twist, which is like the monkey betraying the other monkey. But everything looks great as usual. Looks intense. Looks beautiful. Looks very cinematic. Looks just looks. Whew. It looks good. It looks really great. And then Matt, what's his name? Matt. So Matt Reeves, the one that's directing War of the Planet of the Apes, is also now slotted to direct the Batman movie, which I'm totally fine with. At first, I was crying. Not actually crying. I was very upset. I was like angry at Warner Brothers because Ben Affleck was not directing the Batman movie. He's just writing it with Jeff Johns. He's just writing it with Jeff Johns, which is ours. Like, their script is also getting rewritten, which I don't necessarily like because I feel like go with your internal instinct, like your first instinct. But with Matt Reeves on board, I feel like they could produce a pretty good like movie, because he did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes, he did Cloverfield, and I feel like with him we'll get like a nice character story with a bunch of cool action. And since we're gonna have Deathstroke in there, and it's probably gonna more than likely is gonna be like not Suicide Squad, Arkham Asylum, the first game where he's locked up there and he has to like go against a bunch of villains, or Arkham Origins. I'm guessing it's probably like a mixture of both those games kind of combined to make this movie. I would like them to do something original, but if they're gonna do something, they should stick to like some good source material. And so I'm happy that Matt Reeves is slotted on to be the director for that. He hasn't done much, but hey, he's pretty good with what he's done. I hope he does great. Um, Speaking of Batman, the Justice League trailer dropped earlier this week, and it's phenomenal. Holy moly. I love how when the Flash is getting ready to run, he goes into like a runner slash kung fu stance. I feel like if they're gonna like hype him up to be the kind of nerdy character he is and kind of like quirky, like someone most people can relate to, that is really cool. Like saying he's into all those like kung fu movies and that's why he knows how to fight and stuff. And so every time he like gets ready to do something, he's like, oh yeah, and I just feel like that would be really cool. I've always dreamed about. I don't want to, but actually, that's I want to. I've written screenplays for my Nightwing movie, and a Flash movie, and a Green Arrow movie, which I'll potentially read here soon. And if I were to direct The Flash, which has gotten like 70 directors to do the, when is that coming out? 2019, 2018? The Flash movie with Ezra Miller. I want him to be shredded, but not like huge, like Ben Affleck's huge. I want him to just be shredded because his metabolism's so fast. I want him to be able to speed read. I want him to be super smart. Like the first episode, the pilot episode of The Flash, was so good because he was super like, Grant Gustin was super smart and he like saw the tire tracks and stuff. I wish they would do more of that stuff in The Flash right now. So I'm glad that they're doing The Flash some justice. The Flash is an amazing show, don't get me wrong, but I also want to see like a different side of The Flash that we've never seen before. So I want him to be quirkier and weirder. So I loved that. I loved Aquaman's kind of like doesn't care about anyone's opinion, but also is very sarcastic. I feel like that's perfect for Aquaman. I feel like that he should be like this nice person that does good things, but also he's a loner. He's never had anybody really in his life besides like his dad. When he was growing up on land, he was always considered an outsider and kind of just a weird person, and so he doesn't really have that human connection, even though he's Jason Momoa, who's a freaking portrait of a man. I just burped. Who has Jason Momoa? He's a portrait of a man. He's godlike. If you've seen those set pictures where he's like in the water in the freezing cold, and he's just sitting there with all of his like, I don't know if they're real tattoos or fake tattoos. I know he has real tattoos, but I don't know if those ones are real. He looks so cool, and I feel like how he talks to Bruce Wayne and how he kind of just like talks to himself and he's like, this one's on him and stuff. That's funny things people just say to themselves and don't really share. And I feel like him sharing that kind of stuff, he's like, oh, a bat, I get it. I feel like that's really good character development for him. So, Zack Snyder, I didn't think I would say these words ever again. I've got faith in you. Make this movie good. Give Wonder Woman some more time, because in the trailers we've only seen like 2 seconds of her, and I really, 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 really hope that in the Wonder Woman movie they do her some justice as well. Some Justice League. Speaking about Wonder Woman, I guess it's kind of confirmed, or it is confirmed, that Ares is the main villain. For a while we thought it was some like poison person. I forgot the name exactly. And we kind of just thought it was going to be like a Captain America kind of like ripoff. I wouldn't care if it was, because it's World War I and they're kind of just like this. There's similar origins. But I feel like Ares is a good way to go. It looks cool. I don't really have much to say about it. It looks cool. Hopefully it's good. It's the most beautiful, most like stunning DC movie they've put out so far. And if they do this one right, I feel like they can do Justice League right, and it'll restore my faith in the DCEU just a little bit. Speaking about what the DCU is doing bad, Injustice just came out and they revealed Bane, Scarecrow, and Captain Cold. I think Bane was already like known, and so is Scarecrow, but they have like an official trailer now that like shows some of their movesets and stuff, and they look cool. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna get like pre-order Injustice 2 so I can get like Darkseid and stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything like that. It looks cool. I don't really have much to say about it. I like fighter games, but I remember when Injustice came out, we all thought it was stunningly pleasing, and I went and played it the other day, and it looks horrible. And I'm watching these trailers with quote unquote gameplay, and it looks bad. And if they're trying to sell me on this game, and Aquaman's face looks like a sports dad with some gross hair. Like everyone's hair in that game, even when they fixed it, like they said, "Oh, we're gonna fix it in other games. Here, we're gonna fix it. Don't worry. We're still working on the models. We just wanted to show you this to show you what the game's like." You don't show people like gameplay, quote unquote, without it being close to its finished product. And they even like just released a new picture of what Aquaman in the game is gonna look like. He looks better, but the game does not look anything like what should be coming out right now. Like, I feel like our graphics should be on the peak of human standards. Like in Arkham Knight, which came out what, 2 years ago, a year ago, that looks way better. And Rocksteady put a lot more time into that game. But also, I feel like that should just be, like, a given. Like, most people are having that kind of beauty inside their games nowadays. And I don't care what anybody says, I personally hate the Batman's costume in the new Injustice. I don't get it. It looks stupid. I don't know why they didn't just keep with the last design. Just some of the costume choices, I think, are very... It's good to do your own thing. It's good to do a new thing. I feel like they should have done their new thing, but these new things aren't good to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I love some of the costume choices they've made, but I just don't know what to say about them. Like, I don't really like Batman's. I don't like Bane's. Just a few people that I don't like. Green Arrow's looks phenomenal. I feel like Green Arrow is one of the better character models, and I love Green Arrow, so I'm happy with that. I don't know if I'll play him if I do get, oh, that was a voice crack. If I do get, Injustice, I don't know if I'll play Green Arrow, but I feel like he's one of the better looking ones. Definitely. I'm hyped for the game. I'm ready to play it. I don't know if I'm going to pre-order it and get it, like, the day it comes out, but I'm definitely going to play it, if that makes sense. Next on my little list I have here is... Oh. Okay. We need to talk about this in full seriousness. We were at the DC side of things, now we're going to the Marvel. Usually Marvel can't do much wrong besides Age of Ultron and Iron Man 3. But they've crushed my dreams. And I'll tell you why. The new Spider-Man trailer came out, and it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal trailer. I guarantee you've seen the trailer, but just in case, spoilers ahead. The first trailer was freaking-tastic. I saw that trailer, and I watched it like 70 times. No joke. I probably watched that trailer more than I watched the Justice League trailer, and I was so excited because Spider-Man used to be one of my favorite. Green Arrow and Spider-Man were my favorite characters growing up. And the Hulk, because I feel like every little kid loves the Hulk because he just smashes things and doesn't really talk, so you don't need to know his character. But I feel like they just ruined. They did what War of the Planet Apes did. They revealed their whole story in a matter of 2 seconds. Like, I can watch Homecoming and tell you exactly what the story is. My grandma could watch Homecoming and the trailer and just tell you what the movie's about. If you haven't seen it, spoilers ahead, of course. So it starts off with, like, Peter Parker doing his Peter Parker thing. He's on, like, a field trip, blah, 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 blah. He's in the back of the cab with Iron Man. And Iron Man's like, you gotta do what I wouldn't do and also do what I would do. And, I'm really confusing. Haha, comedy gold. And I love Iron Man. I feel like they're showing that clip too much. But they already revealed it, so might as well use it. Use that joke as much as they can. Then he kind of like shows his quirky friend, everything, who I love. He's great. Like, the movie still looks like fantastic. It's probably in my top 3 Marvel films of all time, don't get me wrong. But they revealed everything. They revealed that Iron Man's going to take his suit away, even though the Vulture is Iron Man's fault, because Iron Man has hired people to clean up the city after they do, like, Avengers attacks and, like, clean up the Chitauri invasion and clean up Ultron and stuff, those villains are all also Iron Man's fault, which people have pointed out before. I'm just making sure that everyone knows that those villains are Iron Man's fault. And now this one is Iron Man's fault, and now it's being put on Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is getting his suit taken away for it. And I feel like we need to talk about the suit, because the suit is definitely the closest we're gonna get to the Iron Spider suit. Like, it's basically an Iron Man suit without the interface in the heads-up display and like the actual armor, because it's like tri-weaved with like material, and it like suction cups to his body, which you've seen a couple times. It has a drone as the spider symbol. It has like a map and like GPS and like a full computer in his wrists, which is like the spider computer. He has like the web slinging. He has like the goggles, which have apertures that zoom in and out and like help him focus his like ADD or whatever. And apparently that also has like more displays inside of it, and he has his own Jarvis, which is really cool. I hope his Jarvis is like Uncle Ben, and so we don't have to get the Uncle Ben story, but like Spider or Iron Man did that for him. I feel like that'd be. They won't do that, but I feel like that would be. I wouldn't do that if I made this movie. I wouldn't do that, but I feel like that'd be really cool if they did do something like that. Like, Ben is his Jarvis, and that's where they can fit in the whole "with great power comes great responsibility" thing, and like make him kind of like an AI. But yeah, they revealed how he loses his suit, and then he has like a big fight, and blah 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 blah. And if you haven't seen the trailer and you just want to go see what I'm talking about, go watch it. It's still a great trailer, and it looks like a great movie. They did a Batman v Superman. They Batman v Superman it up. They showed what was gonna happen when we didn't want to be spoiled. Like, I feel like the first trailer was perfect. The second trailer was perfect. Made me really want to go see this movie. Made me feel like, oh, this is a teen drama with superhero aspects to it, and it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be lighthearted. I just hit my microphone stand. Sorry if you heard that. I'm now super excited to see it. I want to see how it all plays out. I want to see, because I know A, B, and C. I know the beginning, middle, and end. I kind of want to see the journey of how it gets there, even though I've seen most of it already. I don't know. I'm still excited. Not quite as excited as I was before. Like, before I was like a 20 out of 10. Now I'm just like a 9 out of 10. Like, I'm still going to pre-order tickets and everything and go to the midnight premiere, but Snake Pass is a game that just came out for like burped again. Xbox and like the Switch, I think, and a bunch of other games, and it looked strangely like Ukulele. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, is this an add-on to Ukulele or something? But no, it's its own game, and I have not played it, and I don't intend on playing it. But it's out, and if people want to play it, it's on Switch. I guess that brings us into Ukulele, which also has come out on everything except the Switch, because it was going to come out on Wii U, and then they pulled that and said we're just going to do it for the Switch, because the Switch, apparently everyone's saying that it's the best game system to develop for ever, and that makes me really happy. That makes me feel like third-party developers are going to come onto the Switch more often, and I'm very happy for that. I'm glad I invested in the Switch, and so far I am loving it. Loving every minute of it. There is a small glitch that happens like once every 2 weeks where it won't, like, it'll just freeze on like Legend of Zelda or something, and I can click, like, I can take my controllers off and it'll still go and I can like push the power button, but I can't get out of the power, like when it says sleep and stuff, or I can go to the home and like I can't get out of that stuff, so it kind of just freezes, and I have to let it like just lose battery and turn off. And I feel like that should be updated soon, if not already, and I just haven't updated it. That's like my only problem with the Switch, and that I have to wait like 2 more months to get games. I mean, Mario Kart's coming out this next couple weeks, so I mean, I'm gonna spend money on that. But Ukulele is what I'm saving for the Switch. I'm not gonna spoil myself on the Switch, or I'm not gonna spoil myself on like PlayStation or PC. I'm not gonna spend that money and then also buy it for the Switch, even though it's probably that good of a game. We're gonna get into it, but one of my favorite games ever is Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64, and so Rareware is very near and dear to my heart in my childhood. So when I first heard this game was being announced, I was like, oh, cool. And I saw then some of like the rough concepts and the trailer and some of the gameplay, and it grabbed my heart right there. And I'm just really excited to play it and see if it's good as people are saying and how it looks. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, which isn't the best score it's given, but I know IGN isn't how I say the best review site. That's the only review I looked up because I follow IGN on Snapchat. So I saw that and I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing, but IGN always has a wiggle room for more or less in their reviews, so I want to see when I play the game if I give it a higher score or I give it a lower score. And I'll talk about it when I get it on Modern Myths. So hopefully it's good. I'm waiting for it to come out on the Nintendo Switch, and it should come out like in 2 months probably. They haven't set a date, but if I were them, I'd get it out as soon as possible so it won't lose sales. Or people like me are just waiting for it to come out on the Switch. Let's see what else on my list. I have like a teeny sheet of paper just right in front of me. Oh, so we had a stream over the past weekend. My first stream back in like 2 months. And it was with me and Drunk Dancer, who I also have a podcast with. It's called Pigs in a Blanket. And we did what I thought was nearly impossible. We caught the Yeti. We caught the Sasquatch. We caught Bigfoot and Finding Bigfoot after our second game. And I just want to apologize because at first, like for the first half of that stream, his audio was so low you can't even hear him. I look like a crazy person just talking to myself like I am now. And I just want to apologize for that if you were on the stream or watched it, the VOD on YouTube. Ooh, I'm having some weird voice things. So I just want to apologize if you watched that and you didn't like how his audio was. I fixed it in the end. And we caught him. And I thought that was a near impossible thing. But like I said on stream, we planned on playing this game before I knew every single YouTuber and their mother was playing this game. Like Immortal HD did it, Markiplier, and a whole bunch of like little YouTubers, and I did not know. I literally went on Steam the other day, like right after work, and I saw, oh, Finding Bigfoot. I took a picture, sent it to him, and I was like, we should do this. It's a multiplayer scary game, something we do all the time, and we'd both get freaked out by it. We bought it. We played 2 matches by ourselves, like individually on my computer. We're like, okay, this is scary, blah, 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 blah. He went home and bought it. And then the next day we streamed it, and that morning before we streamed it, I saw that everybody was like playing it, and so I was like, oh, well, I'm bandwagoning now. Which could be a good thing and a bad thing. I don't want people to be oversaturated with Finding Bigfoot because it is, for what it is, a good game. Like, I won't say it's one of my favorite games ever. I won't say it's the worst game ever. It's fun to play. It isn't the best looking visually. It looks great, but it like your character's arm barely moves, and like some of the character models and some of the glitches and stuff. Like one time I thought there was floating leaves when really it was a branch out of a tree, and it was very 2D-ish. But to whoever made it, I hope more maps come out soon, and I had a lot of fun playing it. We are planning on doing some like little missions and more streams coming soon. You'll probably see those VODs or just catch up with the stream when it happens. So we did that. That was very fun. Quite the sight to behold. Let's talk about a hot issue. A very red hot issue. Supposedly, a lot of companies are taking their ads off of YouTube. Now, this isn't a supposed thing. People have come out with press reviews. Pepsi did it. I know Keemstar tried to get people to come back by promoting Coca-Cola who hadn't pulled out at the time, and I guess they have since pulled out. And lots of other companies have pulled their ads off of YouTube for the reasons I do not know which. I believe it's something to do with like mature content or all of the drama going on with YouTube. I don't really know. I don't really follow the kind of drama stuff, but I see it as a hot issue because there's so many people nowadays trying to become a YouTuber, and I feel like nobody is really gonna make it. I feel like this is gonna be a great restart to YouTube because I feel like all the big YouTubers that are making a good amount of money will be cut down a little bit, but they'll survive. And I feel like a lot of the smaller channels who don't have another job will be kind of like cut down, and it'll kind of be like a renaissance of YouTube. This is a horrible thing that's happening, and I feel like ad people should come back to YouTube, but we should make the best out of this. And if you aren't doing YouTube like I am, just like as a hobby and because you want to, this will kind of weed you out. And like all these younger generations that are seeing like Casey Neistats and Markipliers and stuff, who get raised to the top back in the day of like when YouTube was a smaller thing and they grew with it. I feel like they'll be weeded out and they'll be like, well, there's no money to making this and I can't become what I want to become in my dream job, which is a horrible thing. but I feel like this will weed people out, and it'll be easier to become bigger on YouTube and be easier to be found. This could knock me off the map, but I feel like it's a good thing for it. I feel like it's the system rebooting. It's like animal cell or a plant cell. It's like recreating itself. I don't agree with the age restrictions it's doing. So like if you are, like, let's say I put my account as I'm a 14-year-old, I can't see 18 and above content, which I think is kind of stupid. Let people watch what they want to watch. If their parents are smart enough, they'll put them on YouTube Kids. But if you feel like your kid's old enough to watch certain things, then they should be able to find that kind of thing. You shouldn't just unsubscribe people to those accounts and not let them be found. I feel like that's a stupid decision on YouTube's part. I understand why they do it, but I feel like it's a stupid decision. Yeah, so I feel like this could be a good thing or a really bad thing for YouTube, and this could kill YouTube, and people could just go over to Twitch, because Twitch is so much easier, and I personally really love Twitch almost as much as I love YouTube. Speaking about things in 2003 and 2006 that kind of were the big deals. Invader Zim, if you guys remember that show, it's about a alien who is a quote-unquote invader. He got sent to Earth because it was kind of like a joke, because of his leaders thought he was a joke. And he came to Earth, and with his robot partner, they tried to take over the world, kind of like Pinky and the Brain, but more ridiculous. If you know anybody who is goth or emo, they'll know this show. It's a pretty good show for anybody, not just those people, but that was like its demographic, and it's a really good show. It's a really good show, and they're making a new Nickelodeon movie on it. So I believe the original writer or the director for the show is coming back for it, and they're doing a 90-minute movie that's going to premiere on Nickelodeon, and it's all about Zim's last attempt and his last efforts to please the Tallists, who are his like people's leaders, and conquer Earth. And they set out like a 60-second trailer where he's talking in a deep booming voice, and him and Gurr, his robot, kind of have like some back and forth, and it was really good, and it made me really excited for this movie. It kind of made me reminisce about how much I used to love Invader Zim, and I'm kind of super excited for this movie, and hopefully it's going to be really good, and we can see all of our old characters come back and get that kind of wackiness that we've missed so much about. My voice is hurting. I'm going to drink some water here, and I'm not going to cut it out because that's too much work. Get yourself some H2O, brought to you by the Foundation for Better Water. According to Tom King, who is the writer for the Batman comics as of right now, in this summer, 2017, 2K17, it's 2017, please stop talking about 2017, the Riddler and the Joker are going to have an all-out war in Gotham, which I think is a brilliant idea. I don't get why it hasn't been done already. They're crazy psychopaths, which is the same thing, but I said it twice, who make riddles and jokes. And they both wear green. One of them wears blue or purple most of the time, but you know what I'm saying. Like, why haven't their paths crossed before? I feel like that's going to be really cool, because they're not essentially the same character, they're similar. One of them's more diabolical than the other one, the other one's just more, like, insane. But I feel like that would be really fun and really cool and devastating to see in a comic book, and like hopefully eventually inside of their own like solo movie, because that would be really cool to have like their main plot be like a West Side Story kind of thing, where one gang is against another gang and they're all pulling pranks and stuff, then eventually it gets out of hand, and then Batman, the police, have to deal with it, and that could be like a really cool story to have Batman be the antagonist and kind of see Batman in a different light, how we can see it from the Riddler's perspective, of Joker's, Goon's perspective. I don't feel like we should do Joker's perspective. We could have Joker's gang be the perspective and be like the protagonist, but I want to see Batman as a jerk and as like a villain, and I also want to see, because every single villain, if you're making a good story, the villain should be the protagonist of his own story. That is the like a main rule that I try and follow when I'm making stuff, and I want to see it from that kind of perspective. And I kind of want to see some heart from these characters, and I want to see some fun, messed up kind of jokes going on in Gotham City, and I want to see Batman handle it and what he's kind of going to do to stop this kind of joke war, this prank war. And I feel like it's a great territory to expand upon. So good job for Tom King to think of that, and we get to see that real soon. Speaking of what should have been done a long time ago, like 6 years ago, Joss Whedon sent in a Wonder Woman script to Warner Brothers and the DC people, like everyone at DC, and they turned him away. They said, "Thank you very much. You can go back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer and just do your own thing." They rejected his Wonder Woman script, and he went on to make the Avengers and Age of Ultron and put his heart and soul into those movies. And Age of Ultron was like a big mistake because Marvel interfered with that, and he's even agreed that that movie isn't that good. But the Avengers movie is close to phenomenal. I would say Civil War is a better Avengers movie because it has more rewatch value. But walking out of the Avengers movie, if you did not have a giant smile on your face, you are dead in the heart. You hate kittens and puppies and babies. That movie was phenomenal. And if there's one thing that Joss Whedon can do, it is a female character. And so finally, the DC Universe, Warner Brothers, has given Joss Whedon reign of a Batgirl movie. So far, we just think it's a Batgirl movie, but I remember a couple months ago they said, "Oh, they're gonna do a Birds of Prey movie." So that makes me think, oh, Joss Whedon is definitely gonna do a Birds of Prey movie. Or people think it's gonna be The Killing Joke. I don't think they'd be that obvious. I don't think Joss Whedon would do something that big for his first one. I do think he's gonna do 2 before it gets burnt out, and I think it's gonna be the best. I think it's gonna be the best movie in the DCEU if it's not Justice League, or the Batman, because those are the 2 that I think are gonna be the best right now. Like, I'm putting my chips on those 2. The Flash or Cyborg movie, if that's gonna be a buddy cop film, could definitely surprise us. I think those 3. Those 3 movies could be the best, but if Joss Whedon hits this out of the park, then that's definitely gonna be the best. I feel like he's very good at quips. He's really good at making jokes. I feel like he's gonna do kind of like a dark and a light side. So it's gonna be kind of like Barbara Gordon during the day and then Batgirl at night. And I don't think he's gonna do the Killing Joke story. I feel like that would be a second one if he does do a second one. It's just my speculation, and I think he's gonna hit it out of the park. He loves making female strong characters. Marvel didn't listen to him when he was like, "I want to make a Black Widow movie." If they would have listened to him, he probably would still be there. But now he's changed size, and he's doing what he actually wants to do in the DCEU, which is make a strong female character known to the public and something for people to look up to, not even just little girls or women. Everyone can look up to Barbara Gordon. She's smart. She's on the right path. She's just all-out good character, and I feel like that'd be really cool to see, kind of like a light-hearted story from a tween girl, if she's going to be tween. I feel like if it was me, if I was Joss Whedon, I would get Kevin Smith, Joss Whedon, which I would be him. That was stupid of me to say, but whatever. So Kevin Smith and Joss Whedon to get into a room. Kevin Smith could help him write. I know Joss Whedon doesn't need it, but Yoga Hosers I watched the other day, and Kevin Smith is one of my favorite writers. He doesn't do phenomenal work like Quentin Tarantino or some of those other ones out there, but he makes stuff feel real. Like watching Quentin Tarantino movies and Kevin Smith movies, you feel like, oh, yep, that line of dialogue is something that someone would say after someone said that thing. It's not always the best dialogue. It's not always the smartest thing to say, the most intelligent theories and blah 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 blah. But watching Yoga Hosers, I'm like, that's not the best film ever. It's long from it, but it's relatable. There's a lot of dumb jokes in there. which aren't funny, but I feel like that's what kind of needs to be spiced in there. I feel like Josh Whedon would make it really funny, like real funny, and also have some of those dumb humor, kind of like, if you haven't seen Yoga Hosers, it's kind of like a chick flick that is made cool. And it's not, I would say it's like a 6 out of 10. It's good, but it's not like I'm going to watch it anytime soon. I feel like that would be something like they could work on together and make a really good Barbara Gordon film. I don't know. It's just kind of my 2 cents. If you care, you probably don't care. I think that's all. I think that's all I have. Now, after we share the news, I kind of want to talk about something else during the episodes of Modern Myths. When I talk about this stuff alone, it could be my review of a game, of a comic book, or a movie, or something like that. But today, I kind of wanted for the first episode to talk about my top 20 favorite video games of all time. Not in any specific order, just I'm going to name them off and name why I like them. But before we do that, I want to talk about the name of Modern Myths and why it's called Modern Myths, even though it's a rad-ass name. Like, obviously it's going to be called Modern Myths. Duh. Everybody knows it. I kind of just feel like I should go over why I call it this. I forget who said it, but I was watching something, like a documentary or something, and someone said, in like 1,000 years, someone will see our toilet bowls and our toilet like seats and put it on their head and be like, this must have been a crown of a big emperor and this must have been his throne, or something along those lines. And I thought, what are they going to think about when they see our video games and our comic books? Like, if they see like a fossilized comic book or something, comics can't be fossilized and you can't see the comic strips, but I'm just saying, what if they see that and they're like, oh, these people must have been their gods, like their Bibles. They'll be like, oh, yes, of course, this Superman must have been their deity, and he was in charge of protecting them from their monsters, which really were just their inner demons. And that's kind of why I call it Modern Myths, like how people, Superman back in the day could have been Zeus or something like that, and they would talk about his myths and be like, this is why the tides happen, or this is why this happens, and this is why my Aunt Carol died. And I feel like that would be really cool to like one day look back on this and be like, oh yeah, these were our like gods of our time, our new age gods, who are fake, not real. But that's kind of like why I called it this, like, because these are our modern myths. We still have religion and stuff today, but that's really real to people such as myself, and this stuff is what people in the future will kind of think about as our myths. They'll think about the Bible as just like what people in the older times thought. I don't know, kind of like just a thought that I thought, if that makes sense. So let's go down the list of my top 20 favorite games, not in any specific order. Super Smash Bros. Melee is at the top of my list that I wrote, because I was just kind of thinking about what games are my favorite. I don't really know. So I sat here for like 10 minutes thinking about it, and I went to my game collection. I was like, oh, that's a good one, that's a good one, that's a good one. So first off is Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I remember playing this as a wee lad and getting wrecked all the time. I still get wrecked in it. I'm not that great. I beat people that are new to the game and that suck. But people that are good at the game kind of cream me, so I'm kind of an okay player. And for the longest time, my favorite character was Pichu, and Pichu was in Super Smash Bros. Melee, and I loved, which we'll get into like further. I love Pokemon and most Nintendo properties, and just having them like fight to see who's the greatest. We have Death Battle now, but before then, you had to use your imagination, and that was kind of like the perfect thing. I was like, wow, these action figures came to life, and now they're fighting to the death. And I know most people like Melee for its like tournament aspect and all this other jazz, and like how it was on the GameCube. We have like 4 copies of Melee, and only one of them works because we ruined it so much. And it's just one of my favorite games of all time. Next on my list is the Uncharted games, and if you don't like the Uncharted games at all, there's something really, really messed up in your head. Like, Uncharted 4 is a brilliant character piece. It could have been done better, in honesty, but it's kind of like, to me, it's my, to me, it's my Last of Us. Uncharted 4 is, it's a cool character piece. I feel like all of the Uncharted games are like an Indiana Jones with a Chris Pratt on the lead. And they're super fun to play. They're super fun to watch. I'm planning on streaming some of the games or recording them sometime soon once I get all these Let's Plays out of the way. And it's just a really fun game. It's a mixture of a shooter and a puzzle game and an adventure game, and it has a brilliant story to every single one of them. And I remember as a kid, like when the first 3 came out, I was like, "Oh, those look neat. Is this like a Tomb Raider kind of thing?" And then finally, when I played them, I was like, "Wow, this is phenomenal." Why haven't I played these before when they first came out? I don't really know. It's just a phenomenal game, and it's in my top 20 favorite games of all time. So it is. Mario Party is the next one, and it literally could be any Mario Party. I feel like all of them are pretty. The way I like them is pretty much the same for all of them, and I like winning. I'm very competitive most of the time. You don't see it, but I'm very competitive, so I hate losing, and I suck at most things, so I'm pretty mad all the time. But in Mario Party, there's mini games, and you also play around the board and stuff. And for me, growing up, we would play Sorry a lot, and we wouldn't play Monopoly or anything like that because my family's just too intense, and we'd all like hate each other after the end. But like games like Apples to Apples and stuff, we play all the time. And Mario Party was kind of like one of those games that we'd play, and I was good at the mini games, and so I would win a lot. And even now, when I stream it, I'm super glad to be playing those. And the mini games are just super fun, and I can't wait for the Switch's version of Mario Party whenever that comes out, because there's gonna have to be like a Mario Party for the Switch, you know. I feel like there just has to be, because like with the Joy-Cons and stuff, with the Rumble, I feel like 1-2 Switch should have been a Mario Party with some of those games implemented, because if it was, I definitely would have bought it. But since it's not, and it's kind of just like a $40 tech demo, I'm not gonna buy it. GTA, same with Mario Party. You just like interchange any of the names besides the first one. I just love the open world aspect of those games, and it also has missions, and it's also violent. Like, I feel like people don't talk about this enough. Games don't make you violent. People that are shooting up schools aren't going to shoot up a school because they played Call of Duty once. It's not that, parents. I don't get why you're freaking out. But it's kind of fun to just go, like, drive a car and, like, steal people's cars and just run around New York City or Los Santos or anything like that and customize your character and just become a bad A, because in real life you aren't a bad A. And I feel like it's really fun to, like, in GTA, to pretend you're a real citizen and try and just, like, follow the rules of the road, even though it's really hard, and for some reason the police just get on you for doing nothing. So those games are really fun, great open world value. I love games with open world. That's why I guess this brings me into the next game. Skyrim is the ultimate Dungeons and Dragons game. I wish there was a better Dungeons and Dragons game where you just pick a campaign and you can play with your friends, and the virtual DM, or there could be a real DM that you assign, has to roll with the punches, but they give you like stories to do, and it also plays out like Skyrim. If they did that, they would make so much money. I would buy every single one of my friends that game. Not even joking. I would pay for people to buy that or play that game. But Skyrim's like open world. You can do. I love open world, but eventually it gets tedious. So I like having like quests you can do in that open world. So you can go and do whatever you like, and when you're like bored, you can go do a quest, and then you can go back and do whatever you want. And you can go kill things and have fun and shop and like make a house and adopt an orphan. And those games are just really fun. And I haven't played online. It just seems like one of those things where there's like too much going on. It's like, here's the Ultimate Edition, here's the Elven Edition, here's the Gilded Edition. I'm like, there's too much going on. I don't know if I'm buying the right DLC. I don't know. I just don't know, so I'm kind of not going to get into it. The next game is Metal Gear Solid 5. I haven't played most of the Metal Gear Solids. I've watched some of them in like playthroughs, and so when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, I was like, this game looks phenomenal. I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna play it for myself. I didn't beat it, so I don't know. I heard the ending's kind of disappointing, but from what I have played, I've gotten like halfway through, and I love the game. Hideo Kojima is phenomenal. He makes things like I want to make things. I want to write books and stuff, and he makes his stuff very cinematic, like it's a like video games should be experienced, and most things should be experienced with those visual medias. He makes it like a movie, and I love that kind of style. And also, it's still like out there, which I like. He's doing what he wants to do, even now he's cut from the project and they stole his baby away from him, which is Metal Gear. But I feel like he's gonna go on and do other things, probably not bigger and better, but other things that he will enjoy, and I'm kind of glad for that. And I loved playing Metal Gear Solid. It's one of my favorite action games of all time. Ocarina of Time, I feel like, is on everyone's list, so I won't go over it. It's one of the first Zelda games I ever played. Growing up, we had a Nintendo 64 and NES, and so I played the original, the first Zelda game ever, and I didn't really get it because there is no story. I was kind of just thrown into it, and I was like, this sucks. Now I play it, and I'm like, this is so revolutionary, blah, 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 blah. Just kind of being a prick about it. But Ocarina of Time is so fun, and it's so difficult. Me and Drunk Dancer were trying to replay it a couple months ago, and we still are just stuck on one of, like, I think it's the Water Temple or something. We're just stuck there, and we're like, we don't want to play it. We want to play it, but we're just like, we don't want the headache. So if you want to go hear about Ocarina of Time through someone else's who's better perspective, just go and like watch a speed run, because those things are freaking nuts. They're always on Twitch. You just go on Twitch and you can just find random streamers. That's how most people find me. They feel bad. Infamous Second Son. Infamous Second Son was one of the first games I've beaten several times to see all the endings. I love that game to death. I can't wait till and if there is another Infamous game. I haven't played the first two. I have them. This spring break I was going to play them because I've had them for so long. I'm like, oh, just play them, dude. It won't ruin your experience of Second Son. But I love Second Son. I loved everything about Second Son. They should make a third Son or something. I don't even know how they'd do that again, but I loved it so much. I'll probably play the DLC on stream or something like that. Up next is Secret of Monkey Island. You guys already know this. I love pirates. As a kid, I loved Peter Pan, and Hook is one of my the movies that changed my life. Personally, it was the first movie that did that, and made me really think about life and stuff, which I hadn't thought about before, and made me really scared for the future. And then I got over it because I'm not a pussy. But I loved pirates growing up. I was always into pirate stuff, Pirates of the Caribbean. Just stuff like that, and then that game's super funny, and I'm playing it came out a couple years ago, the remastered edition on my channel right now, which should be a test of its greatness. Alright, so you know how I said that the original Legend of Zelda and Ocarina of Time were kind of the first breaking points of my Legend of Zelda career. Well, after that, I didn't really play many. I knew who Link was. I knew who Zelda was. I wasn't an idiot. But for a while, I was kind of off of video games. During my childhood, like early years, I was super smart. I feel like most kids are super smart, comparative. And I knew a lot about animals. Like Steve Irwin and Crocodile Hunter were my shiz. I still have like huge books, like 5 inches thick, of just mammals, reptiles, and other stuff like that. All different books. And as a kid, I probably can name off not every single animal, but a lot of the animals known to man at that time, and like facts about them. And that was kind of my thing. I was also into video games. And then for a while, I kind of I call it the cooling, because my brother's like, oh, you're not cool. As you're going into grade school, you need to become cool. And so like after 3rd grade, I kind of became funnier, which you guys can't see in these videos because I'm not funny in these videos. Like this one, I'm realizing very fast that this is very boring. But there was kind of like a hiatus of games that I played until the Wii came out. The Wii came out and I started playing more games. It wasn't like I did before. We had gotten rid of our Nintendo 64 and given it to our cousins, which I have back. I have my original Nintendo 64 sitting right there next to my TV, and I love that I have it back. But we kind of didn't play any games for a while, and then finally I played Twilight Princess, and as a kid I never beat it, but it was my favorite looking game of all time, and it still is phenomenal to me. I didn't buy the remastered because at the time I didn't want to spend my money on it, and I don't have a Wii U, so it'd be like me buying a game for someone else. but it's one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of my favorite Zeldas. I would say this, Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild, are competing for my favorite spot in Zelda games, and in just top 5 favorite games of all time. Like, I feel like they're on the same level, probably like in 3rd or 4th place. So after Twilight Princess is Breath of the Wild. I haven't finished Breath of the Wild. In my own personal playthrough of it, I'm about halfway through. If I really wanted to, I could probably get it done within like 4 hours. But I don't know where to get like the heat, like resistant costume if I actually need to go on to like Goron City and stuff, and get that, and then defeat that divine beast. And I also need to go into the other city. I don't know even what it's called. Into that village, and I have to dress up like a woman apparently to get into there. I haven't spoiled anything for myself besides like where to get most of the armors, because I was trying to look that up. Other than that, I haven't looked at anybody's playthroughs or anything like that. I've done it all myself, which is I'm kind of like being proud of, because sometimes during playthroughs of a game, like, I'm like, oh, I'm stuck in this puzzle, blah blah blah. I've tried to do everything in Breath of the Wild by myself, and then I'm starting tonight on my playthrough of Breath of the Wild for my YouTube channel. I'm probably gonna record it right after this one. Hopefully, I'll go get like food so my throat doesn't hurt, because right now my throat's hurting, and that's not good. Because as you guys know, once my throat starts hurting, I become a major pussy and stop making videos, which I don't want to do, because right now I'm having a lot of fun making videos and stuff and streaming again, and especially because all my stuff's very high quality, and I got the shirts and I got new social media and stuff, which I'll talk about in the end. Yeah. So Breath of the Wild, amazing game. The next one goes without saying. I could literally just say the title, and then people would be like, oh yeah, Undertale. Undertale is a fantastic game. It's a funny game. If Undertale right now was picked up by any company to be a movie, I'd be perfectly fine with it as long as it's PG-13. Because it isn't a PG-13 game, but just I want blood and stuff. Like, if they were to do a genocide run or something like that, I would be very happy with either. I feel like a true pacifist movie would be the best, and then like I don't know, like at the very end you could be like, want to return to save, and it goes like ding 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 ding, and it says return to last save, and then they do the genocide run or something like that. Maybe like a TV series or something on Adult Swim. That'd be pretty cool. But Undertale, fantastic game. I don't really need to say anything about it. Great characters, great humor, great fighting mechanics, something we haven't seen in a long time. I feel like it's a new Breath of the Wild. Boom. I have written down Heart Gold as my favorite Pokemon game, and I put /Sun because those are probably 2 of my favorite Pokemon games. I feel like for the 20th anniversary, they should have made Sun, like you play through the whole Sun region, and then all of a sudden you get like a ticket. I haven't beat Sun. I have not beaten Sun, which I'm very sad that I have not, but I just don't have time to do that. I definitely should, though. It's sitting in my 3DS, or my 2DS, because I turned in... No, I have both of them, but it's in my 2DS right now, sitting on my nightstand. I just haven't had time to beat it, and that's kind of just like a lazy excuse, but I love Sun. Litten's one of my new favorite Pokemon. But Heart Gold, you were in Johto region, and then you went to Kanto region. What they did in the original Heart or Gold and Silver, and I played those too. But I'm just saying Heart Gold and stuff because that was just kind of like. I remember I went up to Utah to see family, the same person, like same people we gave my Nintendo 64 to, and I had pre-ordered the game, and I had pre-ordered the game, and I pre-ordered both of them, so I can get both the statues. I still have them on my shelf right there, and I remember getting them shipped to the house we were staying in Utah. I was so excited when they came, and I remember I would shake my fists furiously to try and get those little Pokewalkers to gain stuff and get some loot and stuff, and that was really fun, and I loved Pokemon Heart Gold. That was like my main one, and then Soul Silver is kind of just where I played a little bit. Alright, after Pokemon, because Pokemon is just like one of my favorite series ever, it's Jak and Daxter. I've only played the first one, and I really don't have any intentions of playing the rest of them. I remember there's 2 games during my not playing like video games like peak from from first grade to whenever it stopped. I'm gonna say it like stopped fifth grade, sixth grade. I think it was sixth grade, like end of sixth grade year. There's two games that I played a lot, which was Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess. I'm talking about it right now. Jak and Daxter, sorry, and SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. Those are like the three games I played religiously, like every single Sunday. And Jak and Daxter was just one of those games that I loved. I still love to this day. I can't really tell you why. Maybe it's like they look like Dragon Ball Z characters, and it's a fun story, and it's for a little kid it was like difficult enough, and yeah, I still love that game today. Probably gonna play it sometime in the near future. Who knows? Next on the list is Super Mario World. If you haven't played Super Mario World, what are you doing with your life? It's the best looking game. Just look at all the Mario Maker streams. You'll realize why it's the best looking Mario game probably of all time. Just like the 2D graphics are just the greatest. It was the funnest to play. Still now you'll see like people make new rendition of worlds in that same format and stuff, and like make quote unquote new games. I don't know what you call them, like ROM hacks or whatever. And just yeah, it's an amazing game. I've already talked about Skyrim. Banjo-Kazooie, phenomenal 3D platformer. I remember that game used to kind of scare me for some dumb reason because I hated Gruntilda, and I was like, the cover art for Banjo-Tooie is kind of just like weird, and so I guess that creeped me out in some aspect. It kind of creeped me out how, like in Jak and Daxter, that giant shark beast, if you was trying to swim out too far, scared me too. I was kind of just like, whoa, what was that? It's scary for like a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old. So I remember I didn't play Banjo-Kazooie for a while. I would always play it, and then I'd realize what it was, and I'd be like, oh crap, this is scary. But now I really have a huge love for that game, how the music is just stayed with me throughout my whole life, and I love that music, and I love that game. I'll still play it to this game, and I challenge people to play it, because I feel like Dark Souls and games like that, I feel like it's a very hard game. The original one, not the Xbox re-releases, because you lose all your progress when you die in a level. And it's very hard to swim in that game. And those games are just really fun, and I love those games. Same with Donkey Kong 64. I grew up playing Donkey Kong 64 every single day. It sparked my love for Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is one of my favorite characters of all time because he's a gorilla, and I used to love gorillas and apes and animals in general. And he also has a cool tie on, and he's just a super fun character. Every time we'd go to like a TGI Fridays or a Buffalo Wild Wings, and there'd be the Donkey Kong arcade machine there, I would have to play it. Yeah, Donkey Kong 64 is just an amazing game. It really showed me what games could do when I was younger, and kind of like sparked my gaming obsession. Chrono Trigger, I've not beaten Chrono Trigger. I love Akira Toriyama though. Akira Toriyama is the GOAT for me. Akira Toriyama is the creator of Dragon Ball Z, and also Chrono Trigger. He made it with somebody else, I forgot who, but that game is just really cool. It's Final Fantasy-esque. I don't even know what to say about this game. It's just great. If you like, it's like watching Pulp Fiction and you trying to say something new that hasn't been said before, or Ocarina of Time. All these games that are just so amazing that you're trying to make something like new to say about them. Everybody knows they're great. Okay? You don't need to say something new. I'm just going to say that I love Chrono Trigger. I don't need to say anything new. I don't need to say anything like that. You know Chrono Trigger. If you don't, you're just learning about this new game right now, then who the hell are you? Go play Chrono Trigger. There's a 2D, not a 2DS, a DS re-release you can buy for like $20. So go buy it and put it in your DS, or just watch somebody play it. It's an amazing game. You can even turn off the commentary. Just give that guy a view and watch it, and it's phenomenal. I haven't beaten it though, so don't spoil it. There's supposedly like a million different endings. Walking Dead Season 1. Oh my gosh, Clementine. Back in the day, I streamed that game because I was planning on doing it like every Saturday. That died in the water. But that game, I played it when it first came out, and I watched Uber Hexa Nova, or just Nova, or James, whoever you want to call it, Cow Chop. It's not Cow Chop. I watched them play it, or him play it, and I played it myself. on my iPad, and it is phenomenal. That is some great storytelling right there. That's what Tall Tale needs to get back to. My voice keeps cracking. It's cracking. Release the Kraken. That game is just phenomenal, and if you haven't played it, please play it. Last but not least is Kingdom Hearts. Just like Chrono Trigger, there's not much to say about this game. It's a brilliant game. It's very complicated. After the first one, you're like, what the huh? It's just stupidly complicated. If you haven't played it, you should definitely play it. And then after you play the first two, go look up some YouTube synopsis of all the other ones and how they all fit together, because you won't understand. No one understands, truly. It's kind of just like you have to watch a video or play all the games and then watch a video and try to grasp all of the information. It's amazing. It's confusing. It's brilliant. Every single person that has made a remix on YouTube, I've listened to your Simple and Clean or Dearly Beloved remix. They're all phenomenal. If you come to my stream, you'll probably hear that in one of the intro songs. Kingdom Hearts is just a special place in my heart. I remember watching it being played as a kid, playing it as a kid, and then me and Drunk Dancer beating the first two over summer, and it was a great accomplishment for us, and we still plan on streaming it soon. It's like a weekend kind of thing. That game will take you forever, though. If you're going to buy it, make sure you don't buy it from GameStop, because I tried buying number 2 because we had number 1 already, but I was like, let's buy number 2, and I got 4 of the original games, and I kept those. I kept those games. You darn sure right, I kept those games. And then finally I got number 2. So I have five discs of the original Kingdom Hearts. Then I have one Kingdom Hearts 2. Because GameStop kept sending me the wrong one. I'm like, what in the heck? I bought the second one. They're like, oops, sorry. It was just a pain. Don't buy it from GameStop. Buy it from eBay or something, Craigslist. But those are amazing games. If you haven't played those, play the Kingdom Hearts series. Play all these games. These 20 games are my favorite games of all time, and I feel like a lot of people would agree with me. If you don't, tell me in the comment section what your favorite game is or what you didn't like about whatever I said, because I didn't say anything intelligible or funny, so this was kind of just like a waste of an hour in your eyes. Whoever said the first episode of something is always the greatest was a liar. I've been Trash Diamond, and this has been bottomless. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye-bye!